Welcome back to the channel, and today we've got probably the most anticipated motorcycle the whole of last year for you guys on the channel. This is the BSA Goldstar 2022 model, probably be released in 2023, but never mind, we'll call it BSA Goldstar 2022. The views of these bikes, videos of these bikes are off the charts. Everybody wants to know how good they are, how they ride. All the footage we've seen so far is in Motorcycle Live, just the pre-release, some of the marketing material. I'm here, I've got this Dawn Silver example to ride today, and I'm going to tell you guys what it's like. I think I'm probably the third, maybe the fourth YouTuber. I think TMF had a ride on one, the All Year Motorcyclist, and now the Mindful Motorcyclist has been lucky enough to get you a review and content on this machine. So today we're going to test the BSA Goldstar in real world conditions. Going to feel how that big single is on the road, how it sounds, get some nice audio of the bike, and we're also going to compare it to its main rival, which is the Royal Enfield Interceptor. As a reminder, this bike costs $6,500 if you go for Highland Green. The Insignia Red, Midnight Black and Dawn Silver are a little bit more expensive, $6,800 or so, and then if you want the silver and chrome, then that is actually more expensive, above $7,000. You've also got to pay £300 on the road for this bike as well, so that is going to bump up the price a little bit. So it's about £1,000 more expensive than the Royal Enfield Interceptor, so it's really got its work cut out to beat that bike on its home territory of the 650cc retro, modern retro category. So I'm really happy to have this bike to be able to ride and talk about today. I'm going to show you everything. I'm going to give my thoughts on the bike, and yeah, we'll do an on-ride review and let you know how it sounds, how it rides. So the first thing I'm going to do is just turn the bike on. Just start the engine, check it's in neutral, which it is. And I'm going to take my mic off and just put this down to the exhaust so you can hear the exhaust now. Now I'm going to take the camera off the stand and do a walk around of the BSA and just show you some of the features. Okay, so now I'm going to do a walk around of the bike. If we come down here, we've got the Brembo disc up front, which is quite a nice thing to have, a premium manufacturer. This front mudguard feels a little bit plasticky, but that might be no bad thing, because obviously if it's metal, it's going to be prone to rust where these bolts go through. It doesn't actually feel that cheap. It feels quite solid. It just sounds a bit plasticky when you wrap your knuckle on it. Okay, so you've got a big central round headlight with BSA written in there inside, which is quite nice. That's kind of similar chrome ring around the outside to the Royal Enfield Meteor and Interceptor. Big chunky forks up front, but if you can see in there, these are actually a shroud around probably some cheaper machined parts. So this is really a decorative shroud, it looks like anyway to me. If we come back, we've got the large radiator, which is a bit of an eyesore. This isn't something people are a fan of, but in the world of Euro 5 and needing to meet emissions regulations, this engine, to meet the power output that BSA wants it to have, has to be water cooled. Yeah, let's move on from the radiator. It's been talked about to death. I don't really want to cover it anymore. Now, this being a production bike, they've actually removed the guard that was on the top of the exhaust and reduced it in size, because that heat shield was a bit garish and people didn't really like that. Coming across, you've got the single, the powder coating, not amazing on here. Like, you can see dimples and things in the powder coating. Maybe you like that, maybe you don't. Gives it a bit of a rough and ready finish. Engine covers there. This covers the same as the pre-production models. A Rotex unit originates, we think, from the BMW F650 Funduro. It's obviously brought up to speed. The Technical University of Graz did a good job on making this engine look retro, designed the covers and the accessory pieces for it. One thing I don't like here, and I mentioned this before, is the stickers. These are like transfer stickers you get out of a kid's sticker book. They really need to emboss those into the covers. Now we'll come back, got this side panel again with a Goldstar sticker. Don't mind that too much. We've got this famous section here where the welds, I think they've been improved a little bit from the pre-production model. It looks fairly clean. This wouldn't bug me if I was an owner of a Goldstar. Rear pegs for the passenger. The exhaust is one of the nice features of the bike. So you see that it almost looks like one continuous exhaust. I'm not sure whether they've put a cat or anything in. Yeah, or a primary silencer. Looks like they have got something in there. I'm not going to get my jeans muddy just to have a look. From the rear aspect, the bike looks great. The large single seat really sets it off. And I think the as factory rear light assembly doesn't look too obtrusive. The indicators are nice and small. They're not particularly well made, to be honest, and that looks quite basic. That's sort of your cheap as you like light cluster. But never mind, it's a £7 bike. Cost savings have to be made somewhere. The seat there says BSA on it, which is a nice touch. And you've got the little British flag and a grab strap for the passenger, which is nice. The tank is one of the highlights of the bike. I really like the shape of the tank. BSA badge there is really nice to see. That's really nice. I really like that. There was some complaints on the pre-production models about the pinstriping being a little bit off, but it looks okay here. It looks quite durable, like it doesn't feel like it would just peel off with a few months use. That's good. This is something good. You've got a little accessory port here. That's your 12 volts. I didn't mention twin shocks at the back, Brembo rear brake disc. BSA on the radiator cap, which is nice. And then let's get the rider's views. Let's sit on the bike. And this is probably the best bit about it. Let's talk with the negatives first. So the mirrors aren't particularly interesting. They're kind of cheap and cheerful. The switchgear, people have complained about. I don't find it too bad. I'll just zoom into the switchgear a little bit. It's not the end of the world. It's a little bit plasticky, but Royal Enfield switchgear isn't that much better. So it's a little bit more rounded, so perhaps it looks less angular and nasty, but there's not that much in it. This thing people don't like, the USB charger, but I actually find that quite useful because you've got USB-C and which is the small one, and the USB B or A, which is the original USB format. One of the other nice things about it on this side, I'm just going to show you these ramblers. So I'll wait for these to go past. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, where are you going?
Finishing now.
Oh, you finished? Oh, I hope you had a nice walk then.
We did, it was lovely.
Oh, good. Thank you. It's not mine yet, but I might buy it. Thinking about it. Thank you. Yeah. Have you? Do you ride?
Yes, I've got a Motor Marini and a 250 Kawasaki.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then,
you find it so far?
yeah, but it's a big single, so it's like got that kind of thumping noise. I'll just show you. See? Okay, so from the rider's perspective, I mentioned the switchgear. Brakes are quite basic, but okay. You've got this little thing here. The best bit about being up front is probably these twin analog dials. Now, some people did complain that this was a little bit rough in the pre-production models, you know, scratchy, and the glass wasn't very clear, but it looks fine to me. And this feels, if I rub my finger on it, really smooth. So I don't think that's something which they've carried through to production. That feels nice. If you initialize the bike, that's really nice how the dials tune up and they go the wrong way around. They go backwards. And then you've got the little item in the middle there, which used to be the ammeter on the original bike. That's now showing you your warning light, side stands down, we're in neutral, oil light. Your fuel gauge is in there, which seems to jump around a little bit. So I hate that on fuel gauges. Royal Enfield are the same. It jumps around too much. BSA logo inside the clocks, and on this side you've got the odometer. 19.5 miles. Is that really it? Okay, so that's the walk around done. I'm going to stop filming now, get on the bike and tell you what it's like to ride.
Okay, here I am out on the BSA Goldstar. So what's it actually like to ride? Well, my seat is sat on a very comfortable seat. It's not too firm and it's nice and plush. It's the kind of seat I would like, to be honest. Not might be everyone's taste, but I really like it. My knees are in a fairly comfortable position, so I've got a more than right angle bend in the knee. But that said, it seems fairly comfortable. The bars, to be honest, I think are a little bit of a reach for me, which I don't really like. I think after a couple of hours on the BSA, your arms will begin to ache, it pull your back in a little bit. But as far as the seat, that's very good, very nice and comfortable. Mirrors, well, I can see clearly out behind me. When I accelerate a little bit, and there is plenty of acceleration, look at that. It gets a bit vibey, but not too much, and you've got vibes coming up through your bum that aren't really that bad. It all adds to the experience, to be honest. Hey! Change up. 70 miles an hour, of course rear brake doesn't do anything. Front brake, very powerful. Now let's drop it down again. There's no gear indicator on this bike, so if you've been used to looking at gear indicators, can make you a little bit lazy when it comes to remembering what gear you're in. But the BSA does have 55 Newton meters of torque, so it's got quite a lot of forgivingness when it comes to forgetting what gear you're in, but this is real. Of course, the faster I go and I've got no windshield, I'm getting a lot more wind noise and wind pressure on my chest. The road is horrible today, so I'm not really going to be able to comment on the handling of the bike, but it feels like it'd be good fun. It feels like the Interceptor, to be honest. Does it have slightly more pep than the Interceptor? I think it might do, you know, but to compare the two bikes' exhaust notes, I think the Interceptor is a little bit more pleasing. This sounds a bit agricultural, which is part of the charm, I get it. But the Interceptor just got that beautiful stereo soundtrack coming out of dual exhausts, which I really like. This isn't bad, it's just, I guess, not perhaps meeting the nostalgia that most people have in their mind for the BSA Goldstar with a single cylinder exhaust. It's not quite the same experience. Oh, powering out of bends is fantastic though, I'm really enjoying that. Just going to put my heated gloves on because it is a cold day today. I don't want to get cold hands and not be able to operate the controls effectively. The dials are gorgeous, that's something I really love about the bike. I thought it was like a little bit annoying that they went backwards, even though that is tradition, but now you get used to it. It's really, really nice. Oh, this is it. This is what the BSA is designed for. Yeah, that is fun. That is fun. Brakes are great when you use the front and rear in combination. Yeah, plenty of overtaking speed. That was great. The road's a little bit sunnier and drier up here as well. It's a little bit nicer. The suspension's great. I don't like overly hard suspension on bikes. I'm a bit old-fashioned. I love that bumps are being soaked up. Yeah, it doesn't feel it compromises the riding at all. It's super. I like the suspension on this bike. Stand up. Yeah, it's on the soft side, I would say, but I like that. It's really, really good. Right, I'm going to head over here. I'm in first, good. Right, let's put the bike in neutral. Hop off, cancel my indicator, and just move the bike around. Turning circle's nice, off when you're off. Oh, it does feel its weight a little bit when I push it up a hill, but on flat, it's pretty good. Whoa! Plenty of shove, love that. It's definitely got enough power to keep you entertained and not get you in trouble, which is one of the funnest things about motorcycling. Enough for a little bit of fun A little bit of a chuckle to yourself as you're powering along, but not enough to be doing triple digits in 2 seconds. And that's what you want out of a motorbike. So fair play to BSA, it delivers on that. And as I said earlier, the suspension is just perfect. For me anyway, I love it. No doubt if you wanted better suspension, higher performance suspension, you could upgrade. But for me, that's not really what the bike's for. Just for country lane bimbling, a little bit of fun as we ride into the winter sun. That rear brake is awful. I just used the rear coming into the junction there. It's nice and flat and the acceleration, rev limit is at 7. So even though it goes up to 10, it looks like the rev limiter kicks in at 7. Pulls well, sounds nice. The sound isn't intrusive either. I'm not wearing earplugs, and the stock exhaust they've got on here is just super. No doubt there'll be people who are changing the exhaust out, and there'll be all sorts of aftermarket options. You can buy this bike with a little pannier set now, leather or wax cotton they might be actually. So the question comes then is, should you buy the BSA Goldstar? And you can't really have this conversation without saying the word Interceptor. The problem is the BSA is £800, £1,000 more expensive than the trusty Interceptor. And the Interceptor's got Royal Enfield's dealer support, it's got the fan base, it's got the accessories, it's got the established quality, and you're taking a bit of a chance on the BSA. Now, BSA have had a little bit of problems bringing this bike to market, and delivery timescales have slipped. There was some quality issues. The first quality issue I think was actually an omission by BSA themselves. People weren't happy with aspects of the bike. Now I haven't been told what aspects, they just said it wasn't the engine that needed rectifying, so that took some time. And then there's been a semiconductor shortage, which added more time. The long and short of it is that people who ordered their bikes back in August, which is when pre-orders were open, start of August or mid-July 2022, they were told October, and that's now been pushed back to, I think, March. And that's if you've got an existing pre-order. If you're someone who wants to pre-order the bike today, you're looking at June or July. So you're well into the UK riding season. So that is slightly problematic. So you've got to consider, if you're buying this bike, you're paying more money than Royal Enfield, there's a longer wait, and BSA, to be honest, isn't really established as far as the quality. I think this is a great bike in its own respects. I mean, I think this is beautiful up front. They've done really well with that. But as far as the comparison with the Interceptor just happens to have amazing fit and finish. I think the Interceptor probably does pip this a little bit. I mean, that torquey engine is nice and it makes a lovely noise. This is why you don't need a 200 brake horsepower super naked, everybody, because this is what you spend most of the time doing in the UK. Riding up a hill with a long stream of cars in the wet behind a tractor. Don't need 200 horsepower for that, or carbon winglets or whatever else you get on bikes these days. If you buy this bike, you're going to be an early adopter, and there's no kind of way to get out of that. You're going to be beholden to it. If there are quality issues, then you're going to be the one that is tested on. And that is a bit of a problem. So personally for me, being that this is, I think it's 90% as good as the Interceptor, that's how I'll compare it. The Interceptor has a twin, which sounds lovely. You'd think the single would blow the twin out of the water, but it doesn't really. I love singles, I love my Meteor 350 single, but the Interceptor's twin, it's just that power plant with its twin silencers, just got something about it. It's just fantastic, whereas this is nice, and it's got character. I'm not going to say that it hasn't. I'm not going to tell you that it hasn't got character, but it feels agricultural. It feels like, tell you what it feels like. It feels a little bit like the Himalayan, that 411cc single-cylinder engine. And sadly, for me, it doesn't feel as special as perhaps I thought it was. And And that might be the fault of the hype as well. I mean, there's been so much hype and anticipation for this bike that perhaps it's got ahead of itself a little bit. I mean, imagine this on a summer's day. You're riding a BSA Goldstar, brand new edition. You know, you've got English countryside around you. It's going to be pretty special, isn't it? Whether you're on a Royal Enfield Interceptor or a BSA Goldstar, it's going to be great. The problem is, well, actually, it's not a problem. There's competition between the two companies now, and that's going to be good for us, the owners and riders of these retro bikes. So I'm glad to see BSA come to market. I want them to do well. I want the Goldstar to be as good as it can possibly be. So I'm a big fan of the Goldstar, but I probably wouldn't have one over an Interceptor, the truth be told. Alright guys, well I'm going to end the video there. Thanks a lot for listening to my review of the BSA Goldstar. If you've got any comments down below, then please do add them in the comments section. If you like the video, please do drop a like, because that really helps with the algorithm. It sees people liking things and watching things. It boosts the video and then we get more views. And obviously that earns me a couple of quid. Buy me a pint of beer on a Friday, won't it? Alright guys, well I'll catch you in the next one. I've enjoyed making the video and I hope you guys have a good day and ride safe. See you later.